Welcome to our educational video series, and today we are going to talk about intermittent fasting, why it used to work, but maybe doesn't anymore. So, obviously, we are going to cover what is intermittent fasting in this video. We are also going to talk about what happens during fasting. We are going to talk about why it works for a while and then why it stops working. And finally, we are going to cover briefly why intermittent fasting is not good for the toned look. So, first, what is intermittent fasting? So, it's a way to eat where eating is restricted to a defined time window. So, basically, just means that instead of cutting out foods or food groups, we are just going to reduce the time in which we are going to eat, and we are going to increase the time where we don't eat, which is normally during the night, where we sleep and don't eat in that time, and then we are going to just increase that time as well during the day. The most common forms are 16:8 and 5:2. So 16:8 is not eating for 16 hours of a day and only eating during 8 hours of the day. And 5:2 refers to the days of the week. So we are going to eat 5 days a week, and then 2 full days we are going to skip and not eat anything in that time. This is something that is very often used as a mean to lose weight. A lot of people start to use intermittent fasting because they want to lose weight to improve body composition. And it has gained a bit of traction in the last few years. So it's marketed and advertised for pretty much anything. So a lot of people do it also because they want to improve health, intelligence, wealth, beauty, youth, the economy, and well peace. But unfortunately, it's a bit more complex than that, as it is most of the time. And a lot of people use it also as an excuse to eat whatever they want because fasting is supposed to be magical or kind of a silver bullet. And so a lot of people think that because they stop eating for a specific amount of time, they can do whatever they want afterwards, and that it's not going to impact their body composition, their health, if they lose weight or not. And we are going to talk about that. So what happens during fasting? So first, it has an impact on hunger, and at first hunger is going to be reduced. This is where a lot of people say, hey, I don't feel hungry when I wake up, and then they are going to use the lack of hunger cues and just stretch it out during the day so that they don't feel hungry. And then at some point, the hunger signals in the body are still going to rise and come up. And if we are lucky, then this is exactly the time where it's actually time to break the fast and start to eat. Sometimes it can also develop into strong cravings because we haven't eaten in quite a long time. And most of the time, after the eating window, there's no hunger whatsoever because we have a lot of food in our stomach. We feel a bit stuffed because we basically eat whatever calories we want to eat in a very short time or much shorter than usual, and it's going to sit in our digestive tract, so in our gut and our stomach, and the body is going to be slightly overwhelmed with it, and it just sends signals to the brain that we are full, that there are plenty of calories in the system, and that we don't need to eat more, so hunger kind of disappears. And for those reasons, it's quite easy. It's an easy way to limit the calorie intake, because first we are going to kind of surf on the wave of not being hungry after after sleep. And then it's also going to limit the intake, because when you want to eat 2 or 3,000 calories in only 8 hours, this is something that can be definitely challenging. So most of the time, people have skip breakfast, have lunch, have normal dinner, maybe have a snack in between, and basically just like cut out all the calories that are consumed in the earlier part of the day. And this is something that just makes a big difference in how much calorie you are able to consume during your day if you do this. And fasting also increase autophagy for a little while. So this is one of the reasons why it has become so popular, especially for health reason, is because so autophagy basically is a way to kind of clean up what happens in the cell, or different processes in the cell. So imagine that you're in the kitchen and you're going to to search in your cupboard for stuff that you don't really use anymore, like old knives, broken plates, glasses that you really don't use a lot, and that kind of stuff. And then you are just going to throw them out because you don't use them anymore. And then at once your cupboard and your space in the kitchen is just much more tidy, and it just feels more tidy and feels cleaner. And this is kind of the same things that's going to happen within the cell with autophagy. And at the beginning, with fasting, then this is something that's increased. And it can also have a positive impact on oxygen transport and utilization, on fat burning and body composition. And we are going to look into how this happens, because this is very important, as it's both like the benefits that you can get from fasting, but also the drawbacks that you get after a while come from those mechanisms. So when we fast, there's an increase in stress hormones, and those hormones act as hunger suppressants. They also have anti-inflammatory effects, and they increase alertness and drive. So you're going just to be a bit more focused, feel like you have more energy, kind of a dopamine adrenaline rush. And this is something that people like to use for this reason, because it helps them focus, especially in the morning. A lot of entrepreneurs do this because they feel like when they wake up, it's the best time of the day to work, to be very productive. And first, they are not distracted by having to eat breakfast, and then they also have like that effect of increased alertness and drive. And the reason why this is happening is because in the night we are not eating, but we are still consuming and burning energy, and the liver is responsible to provide this energy, but it has only a small capacity and small reserve of energy. And after a full night of sleep, most of the time, up to 40-50% of those reserve are gone. And if we stay in that state and we have no food coming in to refill those reserve in the liver, then the body is going to produce stress hormones. Intermittent fasting also works because it's very convenient for a lot of people, especially if this rule apply of, hey, I'm just going to skip breakfast, and then I'm just going to be able to eat whatever I want during the eating window because I did my homework. I did not eat in the first part of the day. I'm just going to limit what I eat to those 8 hours of the day. And because of this, I have all those benefits of autophagy and that kind of stuff. And it's not that much important what I'm going to eat in that time window. So I'm not saying that everybody who does intermittent fasting does this, nor the people that promote intermittent fasting promote eating whatever you want in the eating window. but a lot of people just do this because it's very convenient. And it also creates a calorie deficit. And this is something that leads to weight loss. So I've already said that before, but when you have to eat what you should be eating during the day to just maintain your weight and just like survive, which is maybe 2.5, maybe 3,000 calories if you are a bit bigger and if you are very active. It's going to be challenging to do this in a time restricted manner, and almost automatically you are going to eat less. And because of the effect of autophagy at the beginning, you are going to also be more efficient in your body, and your cells are going to work just a bit better. And this is something that leads to more energy. Also, like I haven't said that, but the calorie deficit at the beginning is also going to impact the way your metabolism work, and you are going to be able to transport a bit more oxygen, and it has a similar effect as cardio training. And this is why at the beginning you might feel just a bit better doing this, and you might feel like you have more energy. But the problem is it works by putting more stress on your system. And those stress hormones, if they remain elevated for a while, then the oxygen transport is going to decrease. It's going to decrease the metabolic rate. The anti-inflammatory effect and energizing effect is also going to decrease after a while because of this metabolic shift. And you're also going to have a downregulation of your immune system. This is not something that we actually want to have. After the first effect of autophagy comes a time where there's nothing more to optimize in the cell process. So once you've cleaned up your cupboard and the kitchen, then at some point you're still going to need like your knives, your forks, your plates, and the one you want to keep and still used, and you need to keep them because otherwise you're going to just eat with your hands. And this is basically the same. So after a while you've optimized everything you can optimize in the cell, and if it goes further, then you just become catabolic. And this is a process where you really start to wear down your body, your tissues, especially muscle mass. And this is something that we don't want to have. This is bad news for metabolic rate, immune function, for your strength, and obviously for your look. And this is also a time where hunger levels can go through the roof. And a lot of time, this leads to more calories that are consumed, and it negates the calorie deficit. And this is something that just makes weight loss more difficult. So, just on a side note, before I tell you why I sum it up and tell you why intermittent fasting is not good for the tone look, those are things that can really happen over a long time. So, it's absolutely possible to start with intermittent fasting and then notice a positive impact and effect for a few months. And then you start to feel a shift, or it's not working as well anymore, or you have to restrict the time of eating even more. So instead of a 16:8, you start to do like an 18:6 or 24. It becomes very extreme where you only eat once a day. And and it's just something that's evolving, where the whole time your stress hormones um, are kept high, and your metabolic rate is just decreasing and decreasing and decreasing. And what happens is you transport oxygen less well in your body. Your cells are less sensitive to the things that should be coming in, and so you get less nutrients coming into your cells. You can produce less energy than before, and slowly you have the negative effects of intermittent fasting that just start to go up. And this is definitely something that is not so good for the tone look. So the tone look, again, it's a combination of different things. And obviously we have weight loss that's going to play a part, but we want to be a bit more specific, and weight loss is a mean to an end to reduce body fat while keeping or even increasing muscle mass. And we also want to make sure that we keep stress under control, because this is something that's going to help us minimize water retention and a whole lot of other negative effect that we don't want to have when stress is elevated for a long time. It's really going to impact negatively also immune function, health, connective tissues, collagen, skin, that kind of stuff, and we don't want to have that. Weight loss is not the same as fat burning, and it's not the same as fat loss. So sometimes we hear, hey, if you do intermittent fasting, you are going to become a fat burning machine. But all three processes are different. So weight loss is really just about losing mass of your body, reducing the mass of your body. And it can be fat, but it can also obviously be um, muscle, and this is something that we don't want to have. And it can also be other tissues. So for example, bone, the bone mineral density can go down if we do that kind of stuff for too long. And this is something that's really not good for health and for longevity. And the difference between fat burning and fat loss is basically that when you are doing something, then you use fat to create energy. But it doesn't mean that the fat cells are emptying or that they remain empty afterward. They are going to be filled up again. Whereas fat loss, most of the time, or that's the theory right now, is that it's going to happen mostly during the night when you recover. And the fat cells, mainly the one around your organs in your belly, are going to provide the energy that you need during the night to repair other tissues in your body. So your muscles, for example, but also your lungs um, have quite a high energy demand in the night to recover, and your gut as well. So over time, what you actually want to do is favor fat loss. And when you have a high level of stress hormones in your body, then you might be burning a bit more fat in some cases. But over time, your state is not going to be very good for fat loss, which is not what we want. And this happens because long term, as I already said, we are going to see a down regulation of your metabolism. Um, it's going to burn down muscle to provide energy that doesn't get in when we need it. And it also leads to reduced output during training. And this is something that leads to less training adaptation. So you can build less muscle or retain less muscle mass. It also bring more belly fat on and increases water retention. So all of those things are not what we want to have if you want to create a tone defined look, to see your muscles and to have like a small waist and a very defined belly. So I hope this was helpful. So just to make it clear again, we are definitely not fans of intermittent fasting. This is absolutely not what we recommend if you want to look toned, and even if you want to be healthy. There are other ways. Like if the main goal is not the look, but you want like for performance or for health, then intermittent fasting not um, is not the way to go for most people. And what you should do instead is have a breakfast and try to eat most of your calories during the first part of your day. So, what's good about fasting, you can also get during the night. And if you really try to pay attention, to have at least 12 hours between your dinner and between your breakfast. So, if you want to fast and have that kind of practice for any reason, then try to shift it. Instead of skipping breakfast, then you want to have the window where you eat first things in the day, with breakfast, with lunch, with snacks in between, and then stop eating quite early in the day to have a very light dinner and have enough time between your dinner and your breakfast. I hope this helps and talk to you next time.